And when we're following our highest excitement, can you help us understand where rest, entertainment, diversions are necessary and how to know where to place them in our reality so that we don't get out of balance with it?
Well, again, if you actually are living in the vibration of your passion, the things that you need, including things like rest and entertainment, relaxation, would synchronistically be obvious to you as part of your passion, part of your excitement, when they are necessary for bodily replenishment and so on and so forth. In much the same way that you know when it's time to eat when you are hungry. So when you are truly living in your passion, there will be other kinds of senses that you will develop that will tell you, now it's time to rest. In the same way that you have a signal that now it's time to eat because you feel hungry. So the idea is to include all of those things in the vibration of your passion and let synchronicity organize them all in a way that allows you to hone your senses to be able to tell when certain things are necessary within your passion, within your excitement.
So also what you're saying, I guess, is that as long as the more precise you are in following the formula, the more accurate your interpretations of the signals you receive will be. For example, if a person is having issues with their weight, they might get constant signals that it's time to eat, but that's more of a reflection of being out of balance.
Yes.
But if you're following the formula more precisely and you are experiencing the higher vibrational state that comes with your passion, where everything falls into place, where everything is synchronistically aligned, then you will receive those messages in a balanced way.
Yes, because if you pay attention to people who are following their passion, just to use the example we have already suggested, you will recognize that sometimes people will hardly ever feel hungry. They will feel hungry when they need to. They will not feel excessively hungry because they are so focused on their passion that they're getting energy and getting support in another way. And then when they truly need sustenance to support their body, then and only then will they start to feel hungry. They will feel hungry no other time.
So if you look at the human beings you've been interacting with for a long time, and you see their progress in terms of utilizing the formula and becoming more and more precise at it, are there sort of like stages that people go through with it so that at some point you cross a line and you're actually so much more accurate than you might have been in the beginning when you were misinterpreting anxiety for passion, etc.?
Yes, of course there are stages. Stages of understanding, stages of, as you say, wrapping your mind around something, really making it real for you, really having a knowing of how it works. Again, it goes through stages in much the same way that you learn how to walk as a child. There are the stages where you're simply lying flat. There are the stages when you begin to move around and crawl. There are the stages when you finally balance yourself enough to walk. There's the stage when you finally learn to balance yourself enough to run. And then there are the stages when you finally achieve things that you consider to be certain forms of athletics, where you can leap and bound and do other things, somersault and so on and so forth. So yes, there are energetic stages like that in our observations of people and their understanding levels of the formula. We can tell when you're crawling, we can tell when you're walking, we can tell when you're running, we can tell when you're leaping.
How can you help us know where we are in terms of our progress on that, like what stage we're at?
We can only assist you by helping you to understand how to clarify your own self-investigations about why you believe what you believe and what's holding you back in your belief system. What it is that prevents you from having a clear understanding of the principles of the formula. So that's how we help you, by clearing out your attic of any beliefs that are holding you back from your pure understanding of the formula.
So basically, since we're manifesting all the time,
yes,
it's all based on when you manifest something, how you react to it, how
Yeah.
you respond to it,
Yeah.
where you get confused, where you get clarity. And that's what really shows you what stage you're at in terms of working with these concepts.
Yes.
Great. And this is a person asking about the formula, so let me see if, okay, if someone hasn't been following their excitement for a while and then they start to follow it again in any given moment, what happens? And you said that the only way to miss an appointment that's meant for you is to worry about missing it.
Yeah.
Can you expand on what happens if someone misses an appointment? Does it queue back up again and come back around for another opportunity?
Yes, it always does if you're paying attention, if you're willing to understand that that is happening. You will always be given another opportunity. Now, that doesn't mean it's not possible to simply miss it for the entire lifetime. Because if you keep refusing the opportunities, if you go into a negative vibration that makes it almost impossible for you to see the opportunities because you're not on a vibratory level to perceive them, then yes, that can happen for an entire lifetime. And then when you are non-physical, when you go into spirit and look at your life review, you might go, oh, look at all the missed opportunities. Look at all the times I could have been willing to pay attention to the opportunities, but I just didn't. But you will still learn a lesson from that. So there is always another opportunity to learn the lesson, always another opportunity to choose something where you can apply the information and the knowledge of that lesson. Whether you are still physical or not is not the key. It's whether or not you simply arrive at a point ultimately where you're finally recognizing that there is an opportunity to learn the lesson and do something with it.
So when you reach the stage of the formula where you're expressing a higher level of precision, what are some of the kinds of things that can happen in that circumstance? And does that then indicate that when you're looking at scenarios outside of yourself or apparently outside of yourself that are negative, where it's war or all of these kinds of things, once you're in that higher vibrational state, does it mean that you are actually looking through the glass wall at these activities and that you need to know that when you're in that higher vibrational state?
When you are in that vibrational state, you are operating on synchronism in the same way that we do. You see reality for what it is, your projection of consciousness. You explore everything with curiosity. Nothing makes you react in a negative way. You remain neutral and positive in your approach to everything. You act immediately and fully on every opportunity that represents your excitement and your passion. You are your true self, and you feel transparent to yourself and are willing to look at everything within yourself and accept everything that manifests in your life as an opportunity to experience more and more expansion and more knowledge. You start really becoming lucid in the physical reality dream.
Sounds wonderful.
It is.
Yeah, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Now, this person is telling a personal story that they have, and I will give this information. She says that she was a prostitute 10 years ago,
Yes.
and she got caught by a lot of people, but she healed herself, and she's a different person now. And she's trying to let go of her past, but people still remember who she was. So everyone who knows me has heard about it, is what she says. And meeting new people, even abroad, they seem to become discovering of her past. So she wants to understand, how can she be present and forgive herself, because it's now causing her to be afraid to start something new, because she feels like it'll just keep coming back and haunting her.
All right. Well, there's two ways to approach this. First of all, she herself may not be really letting go of that persona if she really truly wishes to. So she may be walking into new relationships in fear that she is going to bring that persona forward, or that someone is going to know about that persona. So she's holding on to the persona for some reason. She has to look at her belief systems about what she's getting out of doing that. and really truly let it go if it really doesn't belong to her anymore. She has a different past if she's truly a different person. The idea that someone might point it out to her, might quote unquote remember who she was, is simply an opportunity for her to see if she's still reacting to it in the same old way, or saying, but that's not who I am. The second approach to this can be to remind people that everyone was a different person in the past, no matter what it is they expressed, no matter who it is they were being. So just as someone might point out to her that she was different in the past, then she can point out to them, but so were you. Who did you used to be in the past that you no longer are? Can we relate to each other as people in the present and let go of the past? Can we simply be here now? So that's the two approaches. She has to find out if she's holding on to that past persona for some reason that she believes serves her, or if she's just testing herself to see if she can let it go, and at the same time can remind others who pointed out to her that they themselves also have past selves that they may not be letting go of, or that they have let go of, and to simply exist in the present, because what purpose does it serve to relate to someone who is no longer in the present?
Okay, and this is kind of reiteration of another question, but still probably useful. This person is saying that they find themselves judging themselves whenever they're angry, judgmental, or get annoyed at someone, and they want to know how they can have an opinion of their self-expression without feeling bad. In terms of reflections, what is it saying about me when I am angry and annoyed at somebody?
It means you're angry and annoyed at yourself. Because again, you're projecting onto them what you feel to be true about yourself. So we would simply suggest more honest, deep self-investigation about what it is that you feel uncomfortable with within yourself. What are you out of alignment with within yourself? What are you angry with yourself about? And investigate that more deeply, more fully, and let it go.
So also, like from your standpoint, a lot of times people will think that you're going to lose patience with them or something. And as you've explained to us, you don't experience that because you're just in that vibrational state where that's not part of how you express yourself.
Yes, we don't not only have the idea of losing patience, we don't have patience. We don't need patience. You only need patience if you're waiting for something better to happen. Everything that's happening is the best thing that can probably be happening at that moment. It's the most important thing. So we're fully engaged in the present and therefore are not waiting for something else to happen. Therefore, we don't need patience. And if we don't need patience, then we never lose our patience because we never had it.
Okay, so that you see when you're reactive to something that it's probably, for a human being, it probably means that there's issues of self-worth are coming up.
Yes.
And they don't know who they are anymore. They're confused by what has manifested.
Yes.
And the idea is to recognize that once you know what the higher vibrational state feels like, where you don't need patience in a sense, it can show you the direction to go in to regain that state.
Yes, but part of that direction is understanding why you were out of alignment to begin with. What belief you're holding on to, why you reacted the way you did. So that's part of the idea of the realignment, is understanding why you were misaligned.
Okay. And this person is saying that they've mostly used pain as a teacher to drive them towards growth. And how can they change that motivator into one that involves joy and, positive states instead of fear and negativity?
Right. Well, their ability to ask the question itself can propel them in that direction. Because if they really only understood how to motivate themselves through pain, and that was it, they would never even wonder if it was possible to motivate themselves through joy. But this is what following your passion is all about, is motivating yourself through joy. So the idea is, what are you getting out of motivating yourself from pain? Do you not believe, truly believe and understand that by following your passion, you are motivating yourself through joy? Again, it comes down to following the formula and truly understanding it, understanding how it works. But if you really believe that you're not going to move forward unless you goad yourself with pain because you believe that that's necessary to get yourself to act, to get yourself to move, to get yourself to grow, then you'll keep using that because you want to keep motivating yourself. But you don't have to do it through pain. If you understand how the formula works, you will understand that when we say to act on your passion, that is synonymous with motivating yourself through joy.
And this question is, are there laws governing the spiritual world just like there are laws governing the material world? Or is there only one set of laws and that applies to both spiritual and material world?
The 5 laws apply everywhere, every when, to everyone, in every state.
Do you want to repeat the 5 laws?
Number 1, you exist. Number 2, the one is the all are the one. Number 3, you want to join me?
I wasn't prepared to do that because I was looking at the other questions to know what to ask next, so I apologize.
You can do it. Number 3.
You can do it.
Let's start again. Number 1, you exist. Number 2,
the one is the all is the one.
Number 3,
what you put out is what you get back.
Is that the third?
I don't. Sure. I take pity on me.
Oh, all right. We'll leave it at that and let the ones that know find out and remember what they are.
All right. I'm going to get much more rote in terms of my memory of certain things, so I appreciate that.
But again, it's not about memory. It's about knowing what you need to know when you need to know it, and understanding how things work and how things exist, what the structure of existence actually is. Now, yes, there is a person who had a question about the idea that when they hear about the 5 laws, for them, it is actually only 3 laws, and the rest are simply corollaries to that. And that is true. And that's why we originally talked about 4 laws and then turned it into 5 laws, because we realized that many humans on your planet need things broken down a little bit farther to understand the principles in more detail in order for them to have a clearer understanding of those things. But there really is only one law, and in a sense, it is that you exist. And if you understand all the corollaries of your existence, then the other so-called laws are natural extensions of that. So there really is only the idea that you exist. That is the law. The corollaries that extend from that can be experienced in different ways on the level you're in, but they still do apply to all different levels. But you exist. Existence itself applies to every level. You exist. You cannot cease to exist. There is no such thing as non-existence by definition. And everything that extends from that is an extrapolation of the fact that you exist, that everything is one thing. But it changes. It experiences itself in all the ways that it can. And that's why the 5th law is that everything changes. That's the only constant. Everything is always fluctuating, always changing, always reflecting different versions of itself to itself, always knowing itself in all the ways that it can. So what you put out is what you get back is simply a way of saying there's no difference, in a sense, on a fundamental level between you and anything else. There's nowhere for anything else to go. It can only go within you. You can only experience it within you. And that's why what you put out is what you get back is the linear expression of the fact that everything is happening within you and there's nowhere else for anything to go. There is no outside. The one is all, the all are one, again, is another recognition that everything is the same thing experiencing itself in all the possible ways that it can. So,
Okay. Okay, and then this question is, can you explain the difference between the dream state, template level reality, and physical reality?
the dream state is a broad expression that can include the concepts of experiencing out of body, experiencing astral travel. The template level reality is a specific vibrational state that represents as above, so below. In other words, what you have deemed as a theme you will experience in your physical reality dream is, in a sense, sketched out on the template level reality first. It is a specific vibration within the astral realm, just above physical reality, that then crystallizes down into the experience that you call physical reality. So you could say physical reality is a crystallized form of the template level in energy in non-physical reality that represents the blueprint or the themes that you have chosen to explore from the astral level, from the spirit level, which encompasses the astral realm and the dream level, the spirit level, all in one thing.
Great, thank you. And this person's question is about Christ consciousness.
Yeah.
How would you define Christ consciousness? What does Christ consciousness reflect to us?
Christ consciousness is typically a reflection of the entire collective consciousness of your world. In other words, you have your own individual consciousness, you have group consciousnesses, you have archetypal consciousnesses. Christ consciousness is the archetype of the collective of the entire population of the earth and the earth itself.
So what frequency would Christ consciousness represent?
Well, this is something that brackets both the physical and non-physical realities. So it is something that contains frequencies that, in a sense, are a spectrum just below 333,000 cycles per second and above 333,000 cycles per second, which is the barrier between physical and non-physical reality. So it actually straddles both.
Okay, that's nice. And I think this will probably be the last question. Recently, you described how embracing being spirit beings is an important part of preparation for the idea of open contact with high vibrational quasi-physical ETs. Can you give some examples of the aspects of and abilities associated with being a spirit which are important to learn and integrate as we raise our vibration?
The most important thing is to completely let go of the fear of death. To understand it, truly understand it, as nothing more than a continuation of life, a transition into a different state. In many ways, just a continuation of your experience of physical reality, because physical reality is simply another aspect of the spirit realm in which you exist and never leave. So when you really start to experience the idea of non-physical reality as a continuum and a continuation of physical reality, and start to experience physical reality as a projection of non-physical reality, that you never leave non-physical reality in order to have a physical experience. When you dissolve the idea of the difference and the borderline to a great degree between physical and non-physical reality and lose your fear of death, then you will experience yourself more as the higher mind, experience more abilities of spirit in physical terms. You will be a more balanced and blended being and experience more of what we talked about earlier in terms of the way we experience our reality.
I see. And thank you so much for your help with all of these questions. I know that in the future I will be prepared for that pop quiz when it comes my way. I'm sure a lot of people enjoyed that. So thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us. We really appreciate it.
It is our passion and our pleasure. There will be more tests coming up.
I bet.
We thank you. And now, encourage you to relax and enjoy your meditation experience.